Here's my white planter. Does a good job. I hate it. We had a John Deere 7000 and I had an Alice 330. I'd take either one of those over this just because of the complication that this thing has. Hard to set you're going to get, when you set the population on these, if you oil your chains, you're going to be oil and grease up to your elbows, fighting those stupid little clips. Stupid little clips. I sure wish I had a, down on those chains, the sprockets slide on those hex shafts and clips, these little squeeze clips that are a real bear to get the pliers on right. Slide them, move sprockets around. The 330 Alice was so much simpler, and the John Deere was really simple. And this thing is so tongue heavy too. So hard to empty. You know, who would ever thought of bolting down a seed box? My Alice, I could unclip them and take and dump the excess seed into a sack. The John Deere, same way. Easy to get at the seed sensor. This thing here, seed sensors down. You cannot get to that seed sensor that I know of without pulling this all apart. You got to unbolt it right down here. There's 4 bolts. There's one right there. There we go. One there. There's 4 of them. They go through aluminum, which is beautiful. And you got to unbolt that to get at the seed sensor. The Alice was way simpler. The John Deere, it's been so long. We hadn't had that since the early 90s. But I know that was simple too. Only thing I didn't like about the John Deere, it had cables to run the markers. And then the other thing, the Alice had one lever. You ran your markers and your lift. And this thing, you got to have 2 levers. One lever to run your markers, one lever to run the lift. And after I run them both, the Alice and the John Deere, one lever. It's much simpler. There's just nothing. It plants great. That I do like. But it's so tongue heavy. Now, anybody interested in buying a nice white planter, I mean, it's in good shape overall. Well, I should check the openers. But I've put on these. They ain't got too many acres on them. I got to replace a couple of these. And I'll do that. But it plants. I made the quick coupler to hook up the, that way, whoever had it before me, they had the hoses for your hydraulic pump. They screwed right directly in. You had to have the pump stay with the planter. What a pain. There's no place to set it. So I don't know if that's what everybody else did, but I put couplers on so I could carry the pump and set it somewhere. This one's got a squeeze pump for fertilizer. And this year I used what was left in the planter, but I didn't put starter on this year. There's a lot of farmers in my area that don't use starter anymore. But then there's some that swear by it. So I've tried it, see how it does. But I think next spring I'll be putting this thing for sale. I should have blown that. Got it pretty well cleaned out. One thing I got to do before I forget is in the wintertime, mainly, you can't see it from here, maybe over here. The mice want to get into that air deal, into the fan, this tube and fan. So I put this hardware mesh, and I think I did a nice job of it to keep the mice from getting in there. And then I put a piece of duct tape when I take the plates out. I haven't done it yet, but I gotta do that here when I think of it. Up here, where it goes up into your air tube. There's your air tube, and there's a slot here. And I put duct tape over each one of those. And then the mice don't get in. Otherwise, I gotta clean that tube out, with some, I mean, it's no fun to have that full of, and if you don't do it, all of a sudden you'll be planting, and then one of the units don't work because the mouse nest blew down and plugged it all up. So after I had that happen a couple times, I thought, no more. So, yeah, I probably shouldn't run this down. It's been a good planter. I really haven't. One thing that did happen to me once is these frame bolts right here busted, and I don't know why. Like the two on the other side. There's one there. One there. 1, 2. It wasn't these two, it was on the other side. They busted and this chain kept falling off on the unit. And I was finishing corn, and all of a sudden I had corn seed less than 1 inch apart. Well, the chain fell off the big sprocket and landed on at the unit there. Hard to show you here, but landed on the small shaft, and since it doesn't take much to turn a unit, it came off. The same unit did it to me about 4 times. Slipped off of this, landed onto this, and spun that thing nice and fast. And I put a lot of seed down. There was corn on them. They were about 3-inch long cobs, and there was corn on them. I don't think I lost yield, I just lost money. But it was not much, you know. I was about done planting when that happened. And I couldn't figure it out. Finally, I found those broken frame bolts. Why they broke, I don't know.